Hello, everybody. It's me, Mark, with Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Well, today I'm going to show you a really cool book that I got from a recent claim sale. It is a major key book, an important book. And what I have here is Boy Comics number 3. This is the first appearance of Crime Buster, first appearance of Iron Jaw, first appearance of Squeak, his sidekick. It's also the first appearance of a story that I really liked, that was Yankee Long Ago, and the first appearance of Bombshell, Son of War. You also have Swoop Storm, the world's youngest aviator. You got Pepper Casey, and you've got Young Robin Hood, and then you've got Case 101 down here. They were kind of like the Newsboy Legion. This book has up on the over there, it says PM 21042. So I'm imagining that's when it hit newsstands. It is dated April of 1942. Charles Biro is the writer, and Bob Wood is the artist for the Crime Buster story. Crime Buster story is really cool. His dad is a famous radio host, and he's supposed to speak at the UN about the war effort. And Iron Jaw shows up and threatens to kill him if he doesn't say what Iron Jaw wants him to say, that Germany's okay and we shouldn't mess with Germany and everything. So he gets out on the podium and everything, and he says, I just can't do it. And he goes ahead and he says what he wants to say originally, which angers Iron Jaw, and Iron Jaw ends up shooting and killing him. Meanwhile, Crime Buster's away at school, and he's on the hockey team. That's his hockey outfit. And it's like a military academy, a private school. So his cape isn't actually a cape. It's one of those cloaks like they used to wear at the military academies. So he hears some boys talking, and he's like, What are you talking about my dad? What's going on? And they're like, well, he was shot. So he just runs out. He doesn't even change his hockey outfit. He just grabs his cloak and puts it on and runs out and goes to where his dad is. And Iron Jaw gets there before him, and he takes out the doctor, and he kills his father, and then the nurse faints. So when Chuck gets there, or Crime Buster, depending on how you want to call him, I call him Crime Buster. So when he gets there, his father's already dead, and he realizes, Iron Jaw is a bad guy and everything. So he goes to France to get his mom to make sure she's safe and bring her back to America. And of course, Iron Jaw's still, messing with them. So they torpedo the ship that him and his mom are on, coming back from France, and his mom gets hurt, and they're both in the ocean, and he's swimming. He's like, "Save my mom! You don't have to save me." And the submarine comes, "Yeah, come closer. We'll get you on board, and we'll prisoner of war, and make you safe." But instead, they open up with the machine gun, and they end up killing his mom. So Crime Buster vows to do everything in his power, which he has no superpowers, which is kind of cool about this book. No one has superpowers, to stop Iron Jaw and to stop the German threat. Another cool story in here was Bombshell, Son of War. He comes from Mars, because the god of war, of course, is Mars, so he would live on Mars. Perfect sense there. It's a really cool story because it's actually my first wartime Hitler story. Hitler is in the story, and I've had Hitler stories before, but that would be with like All-Star Squadron, or like the last days of the JSA, I think it was. But those were modern stories. written, back in time. Another one I really, really liked was Yankee Long Ago. He's a kid, and he's got this history book, and he reads the book, and he gets sleepy, and he goes to sleep, and he maybe time travels back in time. It's kind of like what was that movie? A Night in King Arthur's Court, where the guy from modern time ends up in the past. So he does all, he has the modern mentality for doing stuff. Like here, it looks like he built a bicycle out of wood instead of metal, because they probably didn't have metal back then. And it's never really told. I'm sorry, there's a glare on there. If it's him actually traveling through time, or if he's dreaming, because usually he falls asleep and then he travels through time. So really cool story. You've got Young Robin Hood in here, which is Young Robin Hood, pretty self-explanatory. We got Swoop Storm, the world's youngest aviator. It's interesting in this one. He's like a young teenager, and he's out flying around in airplanes and stuff. I guess you're allowed to do that back in the old days. You didn't really need licensing. But he's got like a sidekick with him, and it's another boy. So it's kind of interesting, because usually you have like older person like a Batman and a Robin, or a Flash and a Kid Flash, stuff like that. But these guys are about the same age. You got Pepper Casey. He's like an athlete, and these guys, like I said down here, that wasn't a very exciting story. It was kind of like I forget the boys from DC, the Newsboy Legion or whatever they're called. Go ahead and I'll take it out. Really, really good shape. Here's a Crime Buster. Of course, you've got Iron Jaw there. The next story is Young Robin Hood. Another really cool story. One thing I love about really old comic books is the smell. I wish you guys had smell-o-vision. Smell-o-vision. It's got that 1940s smell to it. Here's a really cool advertisement. You got Crime Buster with Daredevil and Squeak. Daredevil's walking Crime Buster to the world of Lev Gleason comics. There's the Case 101. Here's Swoop Storm. And that's the sidekick there in the yellow. No, Swoop's in the yellow. Sorry. You got Yankee Long Ago, the boy of today in the land of yesterday. Best stories in here. I mean, the art's a little bit busy, but it's not bad. It's golden age art. It is what it is. He's showing him how he invented the slingshot. Here he is inventing a wooden bicycle. And then you've got a Daredevil story in here, but it's a text story. Ooh, text stories. There's no pictures. We don't want to read those. We got Pepper Casey. And another cool Daredevil ad. You got the Sniffer. Later on in Boy Comics, Sniffer comes over from Daredevil Comics. And he's like the nemesis to Iron Jaw, even though they're kind of like goofy stories. They are what they are. You got the hero of the month, which is a true story. This guy's George Noble out of Iowa. He was like an Eagle Scout, and he sees a house on fire, and he goes in and he saves the family. Here's Bombshell, Son of War. There he is traveling through space from Mars to Earth. He's fighting monsters. And then I'm trying to get to the Hitler. There's Adolf Hitler. They got him drawn looking pretty rough. Needs a shave. They don't portray him in the best of terms, which makes sense because, all the propaganda and everything. Here he is down here on the... What happened? Here he is down here on the bottom. And that's the back cover. Really, really cool book. I'm going to say thank you for watching and sharing with me on this really cool book. I did sit down and read it. I am one of those people that will read their books. As you can see, I even held it up for you guys, even though it's a really old book. If you guys enjoyed the boy comics, let me know. I'll try to get some more. Maybe it can be a branch off from Archie Comics. I can go into the boy comics. I think there was 119 issues. It started with number 3. The first 2 were Captain Battle, and then number 3 became Boy Comics. I think in number 57 or 59 there was like an Archie type character in the back. And they changed the stories throughout. Crime Buster stays in it the whole entire time though. Let me know if you're interested. I can get some. I can't get them all because I think like issue 4 had Hitler, Mussolini, and Tojo on the front cover. And that one's like a couple grand, so I probably won't be able to get that one right away. But most of the boy comics are like $20 to $50 depending on condition. So let me know if you're interested and I'll get some more. But if you made it this far, please let me know. Please share. Please leave comments. And I will get back to all the comments as soon as I can. And remember, read your books. Enjoy your books. I will see you later. Bye-bye.